So how are the book sales going? None of you have asked. They're going pretty good. In actual fact, they're going very good. I suppose percentage-wise it is quite a feat, because if you look at the average views on my videos, then you'll discover that they're about 100 views, and the amount of books that you have purchased are over a third. And so that's like, you know, well, it's 35% at this moment in time. 35%. And so that means that there's been 2 books purchased per day. And, you know, if that sort of level continues, then I suppose it's as good as anyone could ask for. Because unless you're promoting your books in many realms and you're spending the money on advertisements and all that sort of thing, and you know you're promoting it on your Facebook page and your Twitter and all the social media, which I don't get involved with. That's the thing to do, you see. You know, keep telling people how you think they're nice, and keep all super pleasant and mediocre, and then that's when you hit the masses populace, and they'll all buy into that. They'll buy into the mediocre. Well, I'm fringe. I'm fringe with what I've got to say, and I'm fringe with my delivery. And so, difficult to imagine, really, my book ever, you know, becoming a part of the average Joe's bookshelf. Really difficult to imagine that. But it's possible to imagine that anybody that kind of like has bought Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, and you know, there's 3 people already which have told me that it's on your bookshelf now next to Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. And so I suppose if my book is going to be compared with that sort of self-reflection, because that's what Marcus Aurelius' book is about. It's about his personal self-reflection, and that book was never meant for public consumption. And so, I mean, my closer to God, you know, is just a collection of my experiences and thoughts, to a point whereby it was really rude not to publish. And so, yeah, there you have it. And so, like I said in one of my last videos, if we consider all what I say, all my videos and the book, as an opportunity for you to self-reflect, then you won't go wrong. If you start taking what I say personal, as something that I may be saying which is a detriment to you, or you're taking it as that, that's when it all falls down. Because it all should be taken as a personal evolution, or an opportunity for an evolution. You know, when we look at people like Trump, and how many people get violently offended by what Trump says and what he stands for, well, it's a deep reflection on their own shadow. They should be looking at their own shadow and asking questions. Why are they so offended? What is it that keeps them so naive to consider that there's not going to be opposing opinions in this world? Why is it that the liberalists these days, they can't stand opposition when their very namesake states that that's what they stand for? It's all become very paradoxical, hasn't it? And now the far left is the far right, and the far right is the far left. And so words don't mean anything anymore. Liberalism, well, you know, how many acts of anger and violence have been perpetrated in the name of liberalism and freedom of speech and all that sort of thing? more and more by the day. And how oppressive are the liberalists becoming, particularly in America? It's a global thing. The so-called liberalists are becoming more and more oppressive, more and more like fascist states, communism, dictatorships. And of course, this is how propaganda works. They use propaganda to beguile the public, the ignorant public, because if they call themselves liberalists and then act like fascists, barely anybody will wake up to it. They really won't. And that's what you can see mostly. There's at least 50% of the populace that just haven't woken up to that. They consider that their actions and their party are standing for liberalism and freedoms, when they're not. They're worse than any of the fascist or communist organisations of the past. You can see how desirous they are to crush the human spirit and take away any semblance of any freedoms. And so the world is becoming a very curious place. And so there's no better time now, no more important time for us to wake up and make certain realizations about ourselves and about language, about politics, about our human psychology, our philosophy, our biases, all the things that pertain to what we think we are. We really do need to dismantle everything now. And that's what, my videos are aiming to do, and what my book has is conveyed, how I broke myself down. I completely dismantled myself, or should I say the cosmos dismantled me. The cosmos just dismantled me, no other way to put it. Obliterated me. I can't even say me, the ego, my previous ego. The ego which was in existence like 14 years ago. It was time for a new one. And so the cosmos, in its infinite wisdom and benevolence, showed me the way in how to do that. And those of you that have experienced the dark night of the soul or been on the hero's journey, then you'll know exactly where I'm coming from. And so yeah, it's all there. And I suppose slowly people are coming round to some sort of semblance of, removing the scales from their eyes. But of course, it's a long journey. It's a very long journey. Even if we are took to the deepest and most shocking of depths of our human psyche, to come back from that, well, it's took me 14 years. 14 years, people. And so by the time somebody has travelled a journey like that, they have value in what they say. And so what I'm thinking about doing is, because I've got so much to say all the time, and I could just keep knocking videos out one after the other after the other, but people can't get round to them. How many people have the constitution, desire, time, tenacity, whatever, to sit through my consecutive videos? Not many. And of course that's perfectly reasonable. So what I thought I would do is, instead of making these videos, I would write them down, and that way I can put out 1 or 2 videos a week and concentrate on another book. And one of the books that I figured on doing, because it's rude not to these days, is to do a chat GPT text from talk. So I'll have chat GPT copy all of my videos into text, because all my videos, they're like Marcus Aurelius's meditations on varying different subjects. And I thought, well, I've already wrote the book. On this channel alone, there was 600 videos, and I've got 5,000 on hard drives. And although I wouldn't delve into the archives because it would be too labour intensive, and I can say it all better now. But every time I'm making a video, I think, well, I'll just, you know, chat GPT it, bang it on text, and then title it something poignant, and then put it in a book, a collection of my meditations. So the book could be called, you know, the Awakened Braves meditations, or an Awoken Beings meditations, or a spiritual experience, something along those lines, you know. And that way, it doesn't matter how long the book is, it will be short discourses and digestible. And when the chat GPT gives me what I've said, I can tweak it here and there and make it more poignant and more concise, and you know, polish them up a bit. But I've done it. I've laboured and laboured and laboured and laboured. And so I think that's what I'll do, is because, you know, otherwise I could put up 5, 6, 7 videos a day, and the more I put up, the less views they get. And it's kind of like I'm wasting my time, because mostly people don't go back into the archives, and so they'll just stay there, you know, dormant with hardly any views. And so it makes much more sense to put it into a book and then promote the book alongside the videos, like I'm doing now. You know, I've spoken about 14 years of my personal journey in the book, and so I just reference that. I can do a reading now and again, and I can speak about it now and again. But even if I'm speaking about, you know, mostly different subject matter, that book is always going to be relevant. And so I think that's where I'll be now, because, you know, it's consuming doing these videos, and then, you know, answering comments and, you know, reading them, getting involved in all that is consuming. And I'm thinking, well, what for? I'm not getting any revenue from that. And I think the more prolific you are, the less you are appreciated, because people need to contemplate. And so if I put up 1 or 2 videos with more of a succinct message, then they would be more valued than, you know, 4 or 5 videos a day, wouldn't they, to be fair? Because the vast majority of you don't get around to doing that anyway. So I think that's what I'm going to do. People just like chill out a bit on the video production, you know, because it's overwhelming for everybody.